because the world is reacting against fascism. 100 years later, there is an upsurge of neo-Nazism, of fascism in Europe, in Latin America. Partner Jorge Rodríguez, legislator. Thank you, President. These laws and some others that we have been working on the Permanent Commission about internal policy and culture, it is part of the package of laws to provide tools for the population and the Venezuelan people for the cracking down and for fighting for the sovereignty and peace and independence of Venezuela. This law has to be very good as a character as Brian Nichols has spent its valuable time at the Department of State, at the U.S. Department of State, and he criticized the law of NGOs, because these NGOs are depending on the CIA and on the U.S. Department of State, as they financed all destabilizing actions and violent actions against the Venezuelan people. These commanditos of violence, of far right, that were activated to destroy, kill, and burn, they were sponsored by the facade of alleged NGOs, as they were financed by doubtful organizations or U.S. organizations. Almost 100% of sponsorships were coming from an illegal, and so there are laws that rule political parties, entrepreneur companies, rules that and there weren't any rules that regulate and establish the parameters for the non-NGOs. There are NGOs that are happy with the enactment of this law, the Red Cross of Venezuela, or sports organizations that will be benefiting from this whole process. But who protested? Brian Nichols and the representatives of violence, because they know they won't be able to finance the commanditos of violence and the violent groups and drug addicts. They couldn't able to finance with facades of NGOs. And as you were saying about the anti-fascist laws, and that you added novelty elements about cyber fascism, and you mentioned in the meeting of the Council of State a week ago something that is very unprecedented, that is that Venezuela has been the epicenter and an experiment for the imposition of these actions by product of violence and hate from a omnipresent, omniscient element on the social media of this cyber fascism. I imagine that 4 fat in Spain with a computer, and those 4 fat people controlled 300,000 TikTok accounts or Instagram accounts, and they are sowing hate in their cyber fascism. And in the coup d'etat on 2002, it was through a media campaign, and this was led by the hate on social media. And in this weekend in Miami, they presented some children, 11, 12 years, calling for Venezuela, calling to invade Venezuela. And adults were laughing when these children summoned people to violence. That a 12-year-old, who is very easy, asked for invading Venezuela. What is gonna be the future of those children if their parents are telling them that it is good to kill, that it's good to insult, to humiliate a country? And of course their future will be of mental disorders, as we have to be vaccinated against hate, against far right, against extremism, and in these forms of sowing hate and fascism, that wouldn't be so simple to inoculate the population with viruses much dangerous than the COVID-19 pandemic, than the coronavirus. And our youth, our children, which are easy prey of this kind of speech, because the youth, something that characterizes the youth is the fear of being rejected socially, and so they are trying to group them as from a speech of hate. And I was overwhelmed at seeing that at high school the task for an essay is to how to assassinate President Nicolas Maduro. And